Yeah, right. Good stuff, huh? Okay. Now, we've got a couple updates for you that I think are important. So, we're going to go with the Columbia story first and talk a little bit about Claire Shipman. She used to be on CNN. She's the head in tempor at Columbia right now after they had, Stefanek got all over their backs and they had all these problems and stuff. So, I want to give you this information, of course, because the controversy over ICE busting into a Columbia University dormitory is getting a lot more attention. It has gotten a lot of attention, deservedly so. Here's the headline. Headline: ICE arrests Columbia student. Shipman says agents lied to enter university-owned residence. Yeah, they certainly did. They said they're trying to rescue a child. Yeah. So here it is. Federal agents detained Elmina Eli Agavea, who's going to be graduating this year at 26, General Studies. Early Thursday, this comes from the Columbia Spectator, early Thursday morning after the federal agents impersonated New York Police Department officers to enter her dorm. That's illegal. Impersonation of a police officer. A person with knowledge of the situation told this to the Spectator. Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents arrested Eli Agavea in a Columbia residential building Thursday morning. Later announcing that agents, President Claire Shipman later announced that agents had lied in order to enter a residential building and detain an affiliate. A person with I guess they call that a student is now an affiliate at the vaunted Columbia. A person with knowledge of the situation, or maybe a person who just identifies as a person with knowledge, I don't know, told Spectator that ICE agents impersonated New York Police Department officers in order to enter Agayeva's dorm. Now, I thought cultural Marxism was such that they could identify as anything they wanted, right? So they can identify as totally constitutional ICE agents, even though there's nothing in the Constitution that allows it. They identify that way. And a lot of MAGA people support that anti-reality, identity-based identity, right? Sure. Agayeva's arrest marks the fourth of a Columbia affiliate student amid the federal government's immigration crackdown. She said in an Instagram story Thursday at 3:46 p.m. that she got out a little while ago and is OTW back home. She added that she is safe and okay and thanked those who expressed concern for her well-being. Now, Mondami contacted President Trump about that yesterday afternoon, and that seems to have been what brought the response. Now, I want to give you Claire Shipman as the interim university president. She had a powerful statement about it. Now, I noted that she could be more powerful by mentioning that the feds have no constitutional so-called power to police immigration, and that the feds also have no power to send tax money to universities, and that they are breaching their constitution by going into New York State in the first place without an invitation, and they haven't gotten one from the governor of New York or from the legislature. Now, the student, as I mentioned, has been released, but I want to show you what has sprouted from this, which I think is worthwhile. Here's Claire Shipman, as they note here. Columbia president with new details. 5 DHS agents entered a residency with no warrant. They claimed they were police looking for a missing child. A campus officer repeatedly asked for a warrant and to call their boss. They ignored him and took the student.
Good evening. We are all so relieved that our student, Eli Agayeva, has been released from federal custody. Let me give you some details about what happened this morning. Shortly after 6 a.m., 5 federal agents from the Department of Homeland Security, without any kind of warrant, entered an off-campus Columbia residential building. The agents gained entry by stating they were police searching for a missing child. They made their way to the apartment of the student they were targeting with the same story. Our security cameras captured the agents in the hallway showing pictures of the alleged missing child. Once inside the apartment, it became clear they had misrepresented themselves. A public safety officer arrived, asked multiple times for a warrant, which was not produced, and asked for time to call his boss, which was not given. the agents took our student. This was a frightening and fast-moving situation and utterly unacceptable for our students and staff. We started work immediately to gain her release. We are so grateful for the help and support we got from the mayor and the governor. Let me be clear. Misrepresenting identity and other facts to gain access to a residential building is a breach of protocol. All law enforcement agencies are obligated to follow established legal, ethical standards. Let me also add, nobody in our administration has ever provided any assistance to DHS or ICE as regards arresting or taking any of our students.
So let me just talk about misrepresentation. Two things. I want to go back to what we heard from Ellison when he was being interviewed about Israel. And he was saying, we finally have a home. That's like saying we beat the British or we went to the moon. I didn't go to the moon. Did you go to the moon? Larry Ellison has had plenty of homes. He grew up in luxury. And it's not his place to say that because maybe his great-grandparents who grew up in Estonia or Poland escaped or maybe didn't even have any problems, who knows, but moved to a new place in the Middle East and took that land and claimed it for themselves, that we now are no longer suffering and we've got a wonderful home. That is clearly misrepresentation. Anybody who uses the collectivist government pronoun of we is misrepresenting and forcing himself on you. That's the problem of the plural government collective pronoun we, also ours. It's forced inclusion. Then you've got this whole idea of misrepresentation within the so-called argument for the polis, because that's misrepresentation as well. You don't have somebody telling you, oh, I represent you. Really? Do you also represent this other person and these other thousands of different people who have different opinions on things? How is that possible? Of course they don't. The whole concept of so-called representative government is a fraud. The only way you have real representation is through voluntary interaction, hiring someone to represent your interest. Your interest. Now, they could also get hired to represent somebody else's interest, and if you come into conflict, that could be part of your contract. But it's voluntary for you, and you don't force somebody else to sign on to the contract so that this person who represents you in, say, negotiations over a plane ticket that you might want to buy or over this cup of coffee you want to buy, that somehow they can apply your preferences onto somebody else who's also trying to make a purchase. It doesn't work like that, obviously. There's no ethics in that at all. And so what Claire Shipman had to say there pertains to Colombia. She did not include any information about the United States government giving Colombia money and did not discuss the idea that you can't get freedom of speech or real protection from the state if Columbia University is also receiving money from people, because that itself is an infringement on freedom of speech and it's a threat. So I thought that I'd give that to you. Also caught on camera is something that I think is a big, 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 big deal. Remember that man we mentioned, the legally blind man who died on the streets of Buffalo, New York? Well, there's an update on him. You might have seen this last night. Right after we finished the show, people found video of when he got dropped off in Buffalo and started to walk down the street, unable to see, nighttime. And there's more information about the DHS lying, as ICE claimed that they dropped him off at a coffee shop. And of course, the coffee shop was closed. Here it is. I wrote, Narul Shah Alam, the legally blind man we last night discussed, who lost his life after he was kidnapped by ICE, then released on the cold streets of Buffalo, has been seen in a security video recorded hours before he was found dead. It shows the spot where ICE deposited him with nothing but the clothes on his back. Now, there are a couple different versions of this that are out there. So let me show this to you. Here's J. Dale Shoemaker writing, breaking. We have obtained video of Border Patrol abandoning Nurul Shah Alam, the Buffalo refugee. So evidently it was Border Patrol. I thought it was ICE. Border Patrol claimed the shop was open. The doors, however, were locked. Agents never notified family or lawyers. This is from investigativereports.org. Shah Alam died 5 days later. There he is. Where is he going? Not sure. And if you're just listening in audio, we're watching the video now. It's a reverse angle of him going down the sidewalk at a little faster pace, not normal speed. And that was it. I don't think they found footage of him anywhere else. And let me give you some other information about him, though. As we noted, Border Patrol claimed the shop was open. The doors were locked. And Evan Hill wrote, we obtained footage showing a man who appeared to be refugee Nurul Aman Shah Alam being dropped off by Border Patrol outside a Buffalo coffee shop after 8 p.m. The shop locks its doors at 7 p.m. He never made it inside and was found dead 5 days later. So here you see this video taken from the drive-thru of a Tim Hortons coffee shop shows a man in an unmarked white van unloading the person who appears to be Shah Alam before driving away. The person is wearing clothes that match those Shah Alam was wearing when arrested a year prior. This video shows Shah Alam visible wearing what Mayor Sean Ryan described as orange jail booties, walk to the Tim Hortons front door, pause, and walk away. An employee told us today that they lock the doors at 7 p.m. every night. The time was 8:19 p.m. Shah Alam paced for a few minutes outside the Tim Hortons after being dropped off, and then around 5 minutes after Border Patrol left him, he leaves and walks slowly across a parking lot toward a Family Dollar where he disappears from view. Buffalo police also today released body cam footage showing Shah Alam's underlying February 15, 2025 arrest, which was the reason for his immigration detainer. Shah Alam, who is nearly blind and doesn't speak English, had gotten lost and entered a stranger's backyard and was using curtain rods as walking sticks, his attorney told iPost News. The woman called police, who tased and tackled Shah Alam. Amazing. In the footage, Shah Alam can be heard speaking in Rohingya and Malay. He asked for God's help and tries to explain to the uncomprehending officers that he lives nearby and was going to the store. He pleads with the officers not to throw away his phone. He was booked on a felony and 6 misdemeanors, which a grand jury then indicted as felony assault, burglary, and criminal mischief charges because, of course, he was attacked by a cop. They did that in June. Border Patrol issued a detainer on him on the grounds that he was deportable. Shah Alam's family opted not to bail him out of the Erie County Jail for fear he would be immediately deported, like they've been trying to do to Kilmar Abrigo Garcia upon his release. Eventually, the Erie County DA agreed to offer Shah Alam a reduced plea to misdemeanor weapons possession and trespass. Those would be the sticks that he was using, the curtain rods. His sentencing was set for March 24th, and his family posted bond on February 19th. Thought, okay, get him out. Rather than being transferred to ICE and then released, as his attorney reportedly expected, the Erie County Sheriff's Office released Shah Alam Border Patrol to Border Patrol per his original detainer, and then they dropped him off on the streets. And he's dead. And I want to give you this from Sam Stein. DHS trying to defend it. DHS spent today replying to individual tweets saying they left this man in a coffee shop determined to be a warm, safe location. only for video to emerge tonight showing it was the middle of the night, cold, and the shop was closed. Amazing. Now, I want to show you some stuff on the economy, just a brief one before we head out. Some positive news here, everybody. Check this out. The Chinese government continues to steer clear of U.S. debt instruments. This is a repeat of what happened in 2008, 2009. So as you can see here, around 2009, 2010, they slowly started to buy some more. Bought some more in 2012. It is absolutely crashing. Why? Of course, they're wise to avoid the dollar because, look, we have this from bar chart. Just in, U.S. M2 money supply jumps to a new all-time high, like the James Bond song, of $22.45 trillion. Oh, man, that is crazy. That's all in my news notes. If you want to check it out, everybody, check it out now. A Funk Soul Brother. Now you might see my my magic limbs are moving. I'm gonna bring up the latest from Wolfpack on gold and silver. Silver is at $93.76 per ounce. Gold $5,278.60 per ounce. Wow, that is something. Whew. That is amazing. I wonder what Claire Shipman thinks of that. I wonder if Columbia's invested in some gold. That would be smart, Claire. Oh, and by the way, on the Anthropic thing, I just want to show you the fascist push to use the Defense Appropriations Act to take over Anthropic. Aaron Reichland Melnick writes, this is because Anthropic said, no, we don't want our technology changed to permit for mass surveillance. And we don't want our technology changed to permit the use in fully autonomous lethal weapons. But as Aaron Rupar, who opposes Donald Trump on this big time, of course, notes Trump, the United States of America will never allow a radical left woke company to dictate how our great military fights and wins wars. So let me get this straight. If you've got really good math skills and you're a leftist, can the government put you in a jail and make you work for them? The left-wing nut jobs at Anthropic have made a disastrous mistake, in capitals, trying to strong-arm the Department of War. Is that gaslighting or not? They're the ones who are trying to strong-arm the Department of War. Not the Department of War claiming you've got a deadline at 5:01 this afternoon. You better accept our deal or we're going to use the Defense Appropriations Act from 1950 to take over your company. I don't know. I'm saying, sort of like, hey, I'm watching this horror movie. Is that gore on there when they slice open that guy's neck? Yes, it is. Wow, look at that. Holy moly, that's crazy. Hey, I'm watching this adventure movie. Is that a poisonous snake the guy's fighting? Wow, yes, it is. Wow, that's quite a story. I'm watching this cowboy movie. Are they panning for gold there? Yes, they are. Whoa, are they ranching? Yeah. Seems like the elements kind of fit, Donald. Government, coercion, I don't know. Sort of the coloring I always get at that blush of sunrise when I wake up and say, oh, what's the state doing today? Statism is once again pushing people around. Yeah. Then he says, we will decide the fate of our country. There you go. Welcome to the tragedy of the commons. Have fun. It's great. As, of course, it's going to be more difficult to buy stuff. And if by Monday the United States government attacks Iran, I hope you've got your medicine. I hope you've got your canned goods. Get them this weekend. You can always hold on to the canned goods, and some medicines last quite a while. Of course, if they're petrochemical based, well, maybe a little trickier, but you might want to hold on to them for a number of months because it's going to get crazy. And it's amazing too, because you watch these cheerleaders on Fox News. And I'm like, are you that disconnected that you're earning these salaries that you don't have any concept? J.D. Vance, Mr. Redneck Hillbilly Man, right? Hey, dude. Seriously. Homie, don't play that. And one other thing on the economy, I just want to mention, Oh, this actually has to do with the ICE invasion. Invasion. Aaron Reichland Melnick writes, this is an ICE ruse, pretending they're local cops, and is a tactic the agency has deployed for decades. In 2015, ICE went to my client's house posing as cops and convinced his 16-year-old U.S. citizen niece to call him home from work with a fake story, the identity theft ruse, where they said, oh, your identity's been stolen. And then they arrested him. Again, it's just utter criminality. These people are, it's amazing.